All right. Good morning, YouTube. What's going on out there? Saturday morning. Get your coffee. If you haven't finished it already. A lot of you probably already finished your coffee and are in the middle of brunch or something. Give us a little bit to get warmed up. Get some people roaming in here, dropping by. Some of them may have had got their fill from the chat last night. Maybe we just don't have any participants. We shall have to see if anybody drops on by. Get the word out. Otherwise, I'll just sit here and talk to myself. That works too. That never hurt nobody. But hopefully, people on the East Coast aren't getting too flooded out. That rain is still moving up through the Northeast, it looks like. And then there's another big line of storms right smack dab through the middle, going from North Dakota down to Texas there. Another round. Looks like some red and yellow cells. Watch out for those tornadoes. Those will never be fun. But we'll wait for somebody to come in and say hi before we move on and go into some topics for the day, which are kind of the same old topics, just new updates on stuff for the most part. You got anything you want to throw in the side chat? Put it out there. We'll take a look, roam around and see what we can find, see what trouble people are getting into. Sounds like it's hot in a lot of places. Out here, we got quite a bit of smoke rolling in. Yesterday, it was like clear in the morning, and then about 2 in the afternoon, it just rolled in. We're inundated again with the smoke from the different wildfires out there. That's never fun. Oh, we got one. There's Rooster Cogburns with us. Too early for a Saturday. You can look right at the sun. Yeah, right. Yeah, the sun's red, a real dark red here as well, Rooster. We feel your pain. It's definitely a smoky day out there. So there's your weather picture as of this moment. Make sure do I need to update that real quick just to make sure? Okay, yeah. So that is the updated snapshot. Hurricane is getting closer to Hawaii. Out there for the island folks. Who knows what that's going to do? See what's going on. Do you know what the containment is of that Yosemite fire, Rooster? I don't think it was over 50% if they even announced yesterday a change. But it doesn't seem nearly controlled enough to be any significant changes this week.
Very close, we think, to Hawaii, and not a weak one either. Let's go to the forecast charts. This is from the National Hurricane Center with their forecast going out a few days. Hurricane Hector right here is a major hurricane. It's a 120 mile per hour hurricane, expected to strengthen even a little bit as it moves toward the west and get really close to Hawaii by the middle of next week as a significant hurricane. On the satellite pictures, there it is, right about there, about 1,500 miles or so to the east of the Hawaiian Islands. Long way out, lots of time to watch it and hope for things to turn out differently. But it is a beast out there, and looking at it closely, you can see why. Well-defined eye, buzzsaw appearance, all kinds of thunderstorms symmetrically distributed around that center, which is right there. That is the lowest pressure where the relatively calm conditions are, that eye, but is a raging tempest surrounding it. Let's hope that it stays well south of Hawaii.
All right, looks like that hurricane's barreling right at Hawaii. They're not going to get a break, it doesn't look like. But like he was saying, he was hoping it to stay well south of Hawaii, which is still giving some good surf conditions. There's that predictive map. You think it's 41%, Rooster, for that's the Carr Fire, right? Or wait, is the Carr Fire is the one up north? Which one is the Yosemite Fire? No, wait. Yeah, the Carr Fire is the one up north. Looks like, oh dang, what is the name of that fire down in Yosemite? Yeah. Yosemite. Fire has jumped high. The Ferguson Fire. Dang gum. I knew I'd get around to it this morning. So the Ferguson Fire down there in Yosemite, which is what we're bringing all our smoke to us. See if we can get a status update. So they're talking about the empty park and the money side of it and the tourism aspect of the whole thing. It's burned 75,000 acres, destroyed 10 structures. Hey, good morning, Smoking Locust. What's going on? Thanks for joining us. Trying to get some of the updates on the Ferguson Fire to see where we're at. The Detwiller Fire, too, in Mariposa's still going. No, that's last July's fire. Okay. Let's see here. I don't think they're going to tell us an update at all. Yeah, they don't. Well, that was no good. They were just talking about the effects on tourism and the economies of the different area. The different communities around there that rely on it are suffering, which I would understand. They're pretty much losing all their business for the last 3 weeks. Probably isn't going to bode well for local economies around there. Let's see. what would be, find something that's got the stats in it, what's going on. Hey, Billy Bird, what's going on? Good morning. I thought you were serving coffee. Dang it. I'll have to go see if I can make some more. I've just got mine started, so I might be a little slow to the guns today. So I can get this coffee ingested. Fresno Bee article. So the fire's actually inside Yosemite now, where before it was just kind of on the entrance road area. Remain 41% contained. 77,000 acres. Yeah. Oh, Bill Bird, if you want to get coffee, you might have to get out of bed. Yes, that might be true. See what these folks are doing. Got the firefighting crews, it looks like, out and about in this video. And they're going to run an ad first. Pipe down there. If we can get that to roll.
A touchdown for the fans and take care of you.
Well, that's right, Joe.
Hey, you can do it with us. Good morning. How you doing? Thanks for checking in, joining us bright and early this morning. All right, here we go. Well, is it not going to play? There you go.
Currently, the Ferguson fire is 49,619 acres, 29% contained. Today on the fire, we're working to strengthen containment lines. That includes some tactical firing and preparing lines for when conditions allow us to do tactical firing operations, to widen lines and to extend those control lines. Today, along Highway 41, we're clearing brush and preparing for those firing operations. The goal of that operation is to extend a containment line from Hennis Ridge up to Highway 41. Today we have a lot of smoke in the air. That smoke affects the visibility and decreases the ability to use aircraft. And we have people from all over the country here fighting this fire, over 3,800 firefighters from all different agencies working together with the sole purpose of putting out the Ferguson fire.
All right, that's that update. They're not talking any type of like plan to get it. They're not giving any like projections like we're going to have this contained an increased percent or anything. They don't sound very hopeful. It's going to take some more time. It sounds like the smoke has got to go. All right. Yeah. Smoke and locusts. Most of the West is on fire. It does seem like we're having a big season this year, and a lot of it's a lot closer to home than it has been last year, as we're getting a lot of smoke compared to what we had been getting. Hey, good morning, RG. How you doing? So moving on off the fire, RG Homestead is with us. Moving on from the fire situation update and weather and everything else. We still have that imbalance, all the weather, all the rains in the east and all the fires in the west. There are these Patriot prayer marches scheduled for today. That are one's in Portland in particular, and there's an event in Berkeley that I don't think is a Portland as a Patriot prayer event, but it is a rally of some sort, and both are being touted by Antifa as an opportunity to go and confront people and basically tell people they have a green light to get violent because fascists deserve that response. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. But we do have a couple of some articles. Zero Hedge has this up. Portland braces for Saturday bloodshed as Antifa plans direct confrontation at conservatives rally. We were on the chat last night talking a little bit about this. That viral video of that guy getting stone cold knocked out was from Portland last month. So I think Antifa took that to heart and are upset about their perception. So Antifa is back at it again, planning a direct confrontation with participants, according to a call to action on the leftist website. It's going down. We shall see. Let's go scroll here. These are all the old people, old pictures of the last event. Spokesperson for Rose City Antifa said and told them that the group plans to show that the community will not allow violent nationalist opportunists. Always call the enemy out on things that you're doing, right? That's the standard line of the communist. We will overwhelm them both by force of numbers and commitment to defending our community, whatever it takes. Patriot Prayer founder Joey Gibson noted on Facebook that the rally will be held in an area which allows members to carry handguns. That would always be beneficial, regardless if you're going to an event like that or not. So Antifa's saying they better bring their guns too. Journalist Tim Pool on Reddit discussion last week noted that in the anarchism subreddit in which Antifa members discussing arming themselves ahead of the event. Only thing I'm worried about is some nut with a gun and a bunch of bullets, said one user, to which another replied, better bring our own guns just to be safe. It's getting to that point, I guess. Got a picture of a lot of irony in a hammer and sickle next to an AR-15. Pictures of the authorities. Well, last time the authorities stood down, I know one of the authorities are concerned. So that's kind of the summation of that. Is there's people actually discussing it. There's been statements by leaders of both sides to prepare yourselves to defend yourselves. But who's going to be the aggressor, I think, is the real question. If it's anything like last time, Antifa tried to dish it out and couldn't take it. We'll see if more follows on that. Yeah, Smoking Locust. It's this thing that's in this video right here. Oh goodness, it's 10-minute video. I just want to see the guy get knocked out. Oh, okay. It's early on. Boom. Yeah, that was great, wasn't it? And that was funny again. Last pause. And that's also no takeaway from last time is Antifa was throwing off those like firework devices or whatever that they were throwing out there before the police even started throwing their different devices. There were several loud explosions that seemed to be coming from Antifa throwing stuff out there with whatever else they put in their devices. You have loud bangs like that stuff going off, that people get itchy. You don't have to have somebody actually get hit to be concerned that somebody's shooting at you with those loud explosions and everything going off. But that guy getting knocked out was a definitely, I mean, that should make like top 10 videos or something like that, I would say. RG says they just need to jail them and keep them off our streets. Portland's had a problem from these guys. We talking about Antifa being the problem, RG, or the Patriot Prayer Group, or both? Antifa shut down traffic a couple times last year, I believe, in a couple of different instances of issues. I mean, I don't even know why you would try to do an event like that in Portland. It's kind of like the people going to Berkeley. You're really going deep behind enemy lines. From I'm not sure what benefit. I'm not sure, but we'll stand by to see what kind of. I'm sure we'll get some streaming going out of that. Also, San Francisco Gate article from yesterday. So June 30th was the last event. And then here's a quote by the Patriot Prayer leader, Joey Gibson. Says, is this from last time, that today was good in terms that we showed that there's a political move right now to have the police stand down in order to impact free speech in some of these big cities. Portland's the last city on the West Coast that's doing that, so we just have to keep hitting it. I don't see what else to do other than we'll make Portland so ugly in terms of how they allow these protesters to charge us when we have a permit. So that's kind of the point. Well, that's good to get to the point. They're coming in there to get the police to do their job, essentially, I guess you'd say. They have a right to hold an event, and you have people coming in disturbing that event. The police should shut it down, right? But they've been standing down and allowing these confrontations to happen. And it goes back pre-Charlottesville even. So this weekend is round 2. They're dubbing this as a freedom march at the city's waterfront. I can't believe people still call Alex Jones fringe right-wing media because he's so mainstream now. It's not even funny. He's not even edgy anymore. Expecting people from all over the country, from Vancouver, Portland, Hillsborough, California. We have people flying from Texas to the East Coast, they told the paper. They're concerned. The Southern Poverty Law Center is wondering if this weekend could be another Charlottesville. So the rally organizer has stated that armed guards will be on hand to protect supporters from these Antifa attacks. The organizer went on to say, Gibson said, everyone should be carrying around guns at all times, especially in our situation. I cannot think of one rally when we didn't have guns with us. Everywhere we go, we have guns. Hey, that's what I say. Nobody listens to me. And the Antifa people should know this, but in some of these left-wing cities like Portland, Berkeley, elsewhere, they operate under the guise that people are disarmed because of gun laws too. So Oregon's not quite that far gone. Berkeley is definitely a gun hashtag quote gun-free zone. So they think, and especially in California, they can operate with impunity because they're not too concerned about people having weapons on them. So counter-protesters are promising to meet Gibson and his followers head-on. A handful of leftist groups have organized a counter-auction on Facebook called Resist Patriot Prayer. Just titling your thing like that, just seriously? Resist Patriot Prayer. Okay, you're a communist atheist. Got it. I'm glad you guys outed yourselves. Then they followed up with violent alt-right bigots off our streets. Even though no of these events are never get violent until Antifa shows up. Violent. Yeah, they're just accuse your enemy of doing that which you are guilty of. They continue to push to do that. So most of these college kids, I would assume, 4 Antifa groups: Eugene Antifa, Rose City, Rash Northwest, and Pacific Northwest Anti-Fascist Workers Collective. They went full-on communist title with that one. So once again, you have to think about what in these people's minds do they consider violence, because the quote here is, we make no apologies for the use of force in keeping our communities safe from the scourge of right-wing violence. Make no mistake, these people are coming here with the intent to harm and threaten people. Right. Yeah, because prayer is such an intimidating and threatening. Flying flags, American flags, is so intimidating and threatening. If it wasn't for the media aiding and abetting these people, it'd be so easy to expose them for the agitators that they are. But the media gives them such cover and doesn't challenge these statements like, well, when has any of these rallies ever gotten to violence except when Antifa showed up? Well, they don't ask those questions. They just let it roll through it and give it them, they don't challenge it. They just roll with it. Portland Police Bureau is planning to release a statement on how law enforcement plans to handle the rally and counter protesters on Friday. So they should have released something that I haven't seen, but that would be coming out of Portland Police. But so Antifa continues here. This is great. We must be that front line. We may not be muscle-bound gym rats. We certainly aren't the sort of sadistic bullies we are facing. But nevertheless, we have to go out there and be the ones willing to physically protect people already under attack in our communities. Yeah, they pretty much proved the physical side of it since they lived in their mother's basement for the last 10 years and played video games, that they're not the most physically attuned people for confrontation like that. But you got to give them credit for willing to step out there. I guess that's the big thing you got to say. And the heart's where it needs to be. If they just weren't so mind dead, brainwashed into following that cause. So yeah, Portland. We'll watch what goes on there today. I didn't see what time the rally was scheduled for. I'm sure it's not this early, but people may be streaming already from there. They're getting an early seat. Yeah, good old fascist Antifa, right? Right, you can do it. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Food Forest is with us. Good morning. How are you doing, sir? Yeah, Rooster, we enjoyed that stream last night. That went a lot longer and better than I expected. It was a good time catching up. We haven't had a good night like that in a long time. Right, RG? Nobody wins at these events. Well, and that's the Antifa agenda too. Is you can't let the opposition speak out at all. Otherwise, lest they convince somebody that their side, of their own agenda. Not it's if you're not a leftist, you're a fascist. That's their agenda. Even though fascism and leftism are only slightly different shades of totalitarianism, one is just slightly different. Communism versus fascism. But that's the way it is. Yeah, and we pay for it out of our taxes, and that's the whole divide and conquer. You have these things go on, and it empowers the state more and more in the eyes of the general populace to rely on the central authorities to contain these events, prevent these events. That's kind of the perspective that the average person takes away from a lot of this stuff, or the detriment of a lot of this stuff is it people fall back on those. So we'll definitely have to try to keep an eye on that. And another thing we've been keeping an eye on, South Africa. There was an article that popped up yesterday on the G Plus I wanted to take a look at. The title in particular struck me as odd. So I guess this is a South African news station, News 24. Is it time to panic about land expropriation? So out of South Africa, it's like, I'm just looking at that headline and I'm thinking, lady, the time to panic was like years ago when you had the communists out in the open running for office and proposing these things. It's like your panic time is over. It's too late. The enemy is infiltrated your perimeter and taken over. So let's go on and see what she has to say here. Even though I think it's past time to panic myself. Or really, panic is such a bad word because all you could do is prepare and counteract the actions of the other side about things. But panic is always a bad emotion to get into. So that's really anybody that opposes land expropriation. Panic is not what you should be doing, but taking action is something you should be doing. Panic never leads to anything good. So we should also preface it all with that. So she starts off, I have had to deal with a few of my friends who are farmers that I will tell them when it is time to panic about the proposed expropriation without compensation. Until then, I advise them to relax. So she was trying to keep the peace and moderate as a news reporter, that, she can give them the heads up when things are bad, right? So last night, after President Ramaphosa's address to the nation in which he announced the ANC's decision to propose an amendment to the Constitution to expropriate without compensation, I got many texts asking, is it time yet? I would not ask a news reporter if it's time yet. They will never give you a good answer. Let me say up front that I think the ANC has been handling the land debate very clumsily, to put it politely. It is clear that the narrative has consistently been running away from them, and every time in an attempt to regain control, they seem to cause more confusion and anxiety with investors as well as current property owners. I don't know what the confusion is. They keep saying they're going to take the land. There's no confusion in that statement. And that rally she's speaking of, I believe the president there, Ramaphosa, had an AR firing it into the air to get everybody fired up, like Che Guevara style. So she goes on. It started with the passing of the resolution at Nasrec, which was a compromise in order to prevent a collapse of the conference when the more radical forces wanted to use the land issue to retaliate against the Ramaphosa victory. Following Nasrec, which I don't know what, Nasrec, I don't know what that is, but it looks like a location, but it sounds like it was a meeting of some sort. They must have a title for a political meeting of some sort. The ANC became occupied with convincing President Zuma to resign. The EFF, what is that? Is that a political party, I guess? The EFF, needing a new reason for their political existence, used the vacuum provided by the distracted ANC to table the motion on land in Parliament. A few days into the Ramaphosa presidency, the moderates in the ANC did not pay the necessary attention to the debate in the National Assembly, and thus had to do a hasty amendment to the resolution. By passing the issue on the Constitutional Review Committee, the ANC clearly thought it could buy some time while getting its own house in order on this issue. So they're trying to frame the EFS as the fringe element in this whole deal. Unsurprisingly, the EFF used these hearings as opportunities for political mobilization. As more and more of the meetings took place, it became clear that the EFF had succeeded in creating a false public narrative around the necessity of the constitutional amendment. A lot of people have been pushing that the constitutional amendment is the necessary legal step, like legal matters at this point. They're trying to justify it regardless. It became generally accepted that any argument against the amendment of the Constitution implied a resistance to land reform. This, despite the fact that the ANC at their land summit made it clear that they did not think a constitutional amendment was necessary. Right. They don't believe it's necessary. They believe they can just go do it. Yet they were seemingly unable to assert this into the public debate. With this inability to control the narrative, the populist pressure became too much, and thus we saw the announcement last night. So is it the end of the road for property rights, as many are predicting today? So she says, I don't think so. It is important to remember that the ANC has always been clear that they could expropriate without compensation. Therefore, the constitutional amendment is intended only to clarify the current provision. Of course, it is crucial to first see what these clarifications will be, and it is a real pity that the president did not again emphasize in his address last night what they intend, and perhaps more importantly, what they don't intend to do. This lady's trying to give them cover. Like, seriously, you title your thing, Is It Time to Panic? Well, you already said it. They can do it without, they believe they can do it, and they will do it without constitutional amendment. It's past time. It's been time. Goodness. Why are the communists in bed together? The media is just as bad there as it is here. Ramaphosa's answers earlier this year in Parliament, as well as ANC policy documents, clearly indicate that the government party does not intend to expropriate people's homes or productive farmland. Really? They're talking about very specific instances of derelict buildings, unproductive farmland, land obtained through illegal means, etc. Is that why they're encouraging people to attack farms? Is because they don't really want to. So they want people to attack the farms so they become derelict and unproductive, and then they'll take them. That's what they're trying to do. That's what you're telling me. They're also adamant that it will be done on a case-by-case basis and not through a general blanket land grab as proposed by the EFF. Yeah, this lady's giving them cover. Just trying to ease the process for the political process to work through to make everybody feel better that, hey, at least the politicians approved it. It must be okay. Although an amendment to the Constitution, and particularly the Bill of Rights, should not be taken lightly, a carefully considered clarification of this section relating to expropriation without compensation should give more clarity or certainty to this issue than subjective interpretations by political operatives now and in the future. Again, the devil lies in the details of the amendment, but it is important to remember that any amendment would still have to be approved by the Constitutional Court. Like they can't be bought off, or they can't be, convinced, or they're not communist already. Like, again, does it matter? They've said they can do it without amendment. Moving on down. Let's see. So her big concern here, she closes out with, this is crucial not only to give certainty to the financial markets, but also to ensure that this time no vacuums are left that enable the EFF to once more gain control of the debate. Oh, so the author is a former ANC MP and South African ambassador to Ireland. So she's one of the communists embedded in the party. So, of course, this opinion piece was trying to give the party cover until they can. So that's not a very reliable source, I would say. Former politician who believes in the communist cause, trying to paint the ANC as the moderates against the more radical EFF, it looks like. And if they, as long as they write it down and it's in law and it goes through the processes, that's all they want to do to ease everybody's concerns. It seems like bad stuff. Hey, Food Force, have a good one. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for checking in. Hey, I'm Long. What's going on? You recovered from last night yet? Sorry to keep you up so late. It was a good one. Oh, Walter Davis is joining us as well. All right. Good morning. So she's a columnist now, but she used to be a member of the ANC party and politician. Nice. That'd be kind of like Hillary Clinton writing an article about how the Antifa is not as misunderstood and they're doing good things and stuff. Oh man, you can't make this stuff up. What else is going on out there, folks? Anybody got anything on their radar? I want to see if there's a live stream out there of any of the Patriot prayer stuff. You may know of any pages that stream that stuff. Shoot, I wouldn't know where to start. If I find anything today, I'll be sharing it on the G Plus. If you guys follow along there. Oh, that's a year ago. So it looks like 2 days ago there was a Berkeley City Council meeting when Antifa was asking permission to bring weapons to the rally. I don't know how that went over. I'm not able to get any good. Let's see if we can find something here. Pops up. Everything's from Go. Unless I can. Oh, RT is on the ground. It looks like 12 p.m. So RT is going to be streaming at 1200. It looks like on the YouTube. 1200 Pacific Standard Time, so that would be 1500 East Coast. I'll put this in the box below if anybody wants to save that link or come back to it later in the day. That's the time they're going to be streaming, so that'd be a good reference point, and then see what else is streaming from the ground level. That's the only thing that's scheduled, so RT's on their game. That's titled Live Patriot Prayer Rally at Portland, Counter Demonstration Expected. Of course, they may start early if even the lead up has something going on, but that's the only live stream. Some stuff from yesterday, people discussing the events coming up. All right, so that's where that stands. And there's also the Berkeley rally. Berkeley. A year ago. All right. Nothing on that yet. I don't know. Maybe it's not going to be as well attended. So if nobody's got anything out there on your end, nobody got any concerns, everybody, Walter, you pump all the water out you needed to. That weather from earlier looked like still quite a bit of rain coming up through the Northeast, at least. Just a ton of water, then more rain coming through the Midwest. It's like a lot of fun. All right, folks. Well, if nobody's got any other discussion topics or anything to bring up, we'll wrap it up for this morning. Stay frosty out there. Keep your head on a swivel. Communists are in the open. South Africa is a good example. When you let the agitators take control like they're doing at these protests, you end up with what you got in South Africa. So stay vigilant. We'll have a good weekend, and if we don't see you any other time, we'll see you Monday morning back here at the same bat channel. Different bat time on the Monday, though. Don't forget. See you there, and later. Live free.